Mark Levin here. The post-election economy could be a minefield of inflation, massive debt, and currency instability. That's why I count on gold for my financial protection. When it comes to gold, I only trust Advantage Gold. They're one of the top gold companies in America, and that's who I turn to for my own investments. Call them now, 800-900-8000, for a free gold investment kit, and see if you qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait and see if post-election chaos destroys your savings. Act preemptively. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Here, our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Well, we're going to kick the show off in a little different way. We have a show, we have more candidates than we've ever had on any of my shows, and that's my decision. Because everything's at stake. We're going to have Eric Hovde, I miswrote this, plus I can't see. Eric Hovde versus Tammy Baldwin, that's Wisconsin. We're going to have Tim Sheehy versus Jon Tester in Montana. They're trying to destroy Tim Sheehy now. And, of course, Bernie Moreno versus Sherrod Brown in Ohio. And we're going to have Governor DeSantis on. He's asked to come on. He wants to talk about a few things, too. So we're pretty loaded here, but not enough where I can't discuss a number of these things. I want to play this for you to kick off this program, to inspire you, to motivate you. Those of you who have voted, I want to thank you. Those of you who voted early. Those of you who voted early and you're not lifting a finger to get other people to vote, well, I want to thank you, but then I want to say to you, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? How hard is it to pick up the phone and call people? Well, you better, or we're not going to win. Because the other side is filled with crazy zombies. And I take nothing for granted. And I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of watching people talk about stuff they know nothing of. Pollsters telling us it's too close. We've been hearing this crap for 3 or 4 months. It's exhausting. The focus should have been, and must be, as it always is behind this microphone, substance. Substance, substance, substance. Where do they stand? Motivation, motivation, motivation. Let's unite. Let's rally. And in that spirit, I play this for you.
where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, I have seen him in the watchfires of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damps. I can read his righteous sentence in the dim and flaring lamps. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. In the beauty of the lilies, Christ was born across the sea, with our glory in his bosom that transfigures you and me. As he died to make men holy, let us die to make men free, while God is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His truth is
Mark Levin.
History shows that post-election periods can bring economic turmoil. It's about bracing for the economic fallout that could follow. But this time, with our national debt skyrocketing, global tensions rising, and God knows what else, we could be facing unprecedented risks. Economic dislocation, runaway stagflation, even worse, and of course, undermining the value of the currency. That's the big concern, your financial security. The answer is diversity. Diversity with what? In my view, gold. Gold has been said to be a reliable wealth shield for thousands of years through some of the worst economic storms. And for my gold investments, I trust Advantage Gold. I recommend them to anyone serious about helping to protect their own wealth. Call them right now. 800-900-8000. Get a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. You can even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Now, trust me, you'll be happy you did. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Well, tomorrow... Let me put it this way. Those of you who haven't voted, set your alarm and get up early tomorrow. Be the first one in line. Wake up with a mission. Shower, shave, grab a bite, and head to your precinct. Head to your precinct with pride. Head to your precinct with a purpose. Head to your precinct, knowing that you and the people with you can make a difference. That we must defeat, right here, the enemy within. The Marxists, the anti-Americans, the economic socialists. It's now or never. Let those of us who love America come together. Poor and rich, middle class, labor and businessmen, blue collar, white collar, no collar, black, white, Asian, Indian, all colors, all backgrounds, all faiths. Let us come together and do what we need to do to save this country. Kamala Harris has succeeded in the minds of some, is coming off as an individual who's not dangerous, not a threat, a calming voice. She's a bomb thrower. She's a bomb thrower. That's what she is. For somebody who loves America, she has a record of hating America. She believes in the fundamental transformation of you, the American people, of your jobs, of your communities. Because that's what Marxist jihadists do. That's what they believe. We have a real choice tomorrow. I hear all the experts telling us about surges and non-surges, and I don't know if any of it's true. Most of it's spin. The Democrats say they're happy tonight. Well, let us make sure they cry in their soup tomorrow. Everything that's being said tonight, all the predictions, all the pollsters, all the spinners, none of it matters. You matter. I say it till I'm blue in the face. It's crucial that you vote, but it's not enough. Let me tell you something. You will feel the greatest amount of pride if you are personally responsible for some other people voting. You will have made a difference. You will have done more than the most have done in the past. But you are the citizen patriot. If the citizen patriot doesn't do more, nobody's going to do more. If the citizen patriot isn't the first in line or up there early in the morning, then those who hate the country will be. The time for debate is over. We know who she is. We know what she stands for. We know who Tim Walz is. We know what he stands for. These are very diabolical and, yes, evil people. And they lie and lie and lie to cover up who they really are. The enemy within. Put aside the media. Put aside everything. Remember how you were raised. Remember your parents and your grandparents. Remember our history. And look at your children and your grandchildren. If that doesn't motivate you, nothing I say will. I'll be right back. Folks, any election can send shockwaves through our financial system, but these post-election stakes could be higher than ever. Reckless spending, mounting debt, these radical left policies, they've set the stage for a potential disaster. We could see rapid stagflation, market dislocation, even worse, and that will undermine the value of our currency. That's why I've always relied on gold for protection as part of my diversification. It's been said to be a timeless safeguard against economic chaos, and in these uncertain times, it's more crucial than ever. So when it comes to gold, I trust one company, Advantage Gold. They're one of the top gold companies in America, and they're who I turn to for my own investments. Call them now, 800-900-8000. Get your free gold investment kit to see how gold can help protect you from post-election chaos. And when you do, you might even qualify for $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Don't wait until it's too late. 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional.
Mark Levin, an unapologetic patriot and unapologetic constitutionalist. You can reach him at 877-381-3811.
I want to tell you, from my perspective, something that I've never told you to do before. Vote straight Republican Party ticket. We need to take the Senate. We need to take the House. We need to take back the government, period. We need a 4-year house cleaning, ladies and gentlemen. American Marxism has made great progress toward instituting its goals over the last several years. If it is to be defeated, as it must, it'll be a daunting and complex mission. Its existence must first be acknowledged and labeled for what it is. The urgency of the moment must be realized. The emergence of a unified patriotic front of previously docile, divergent, and or disputatious societal, cultural, and political factions and forces, which have in common their belief that America is worth defending, must immediately galvanize around and rally to the cause. We must rise to this challenge, as did our founding fathers, when they confronted the most powerful force on earth, the British Empire, and defeated it. I admit, in numerous ways, today's threat is more Byzantine, and it now inhabits most of our institutions and menaces from within, making engagement difficult and complicated. Nevertheless, I fervently believe America as we know it will be forever lost if we do not prevail. Do you know who I'm quoting, Mr. Producer? Me. That's on the back of American Marxism. Inevitably, the Democrat Party's infinite cultural, economic, and political interventions, always in the name of the people and some virtuous and worthy cause, lead to the steady decline of liberty and the steady rise of totalitarianism and the exploitation of the people. Fewer and fewer masterminds with an ever-increasing army of bureaucrats and enforcers reign over the citizenry and decide what is and is not good for them. The abuses of power are limitless, as are the justifications. And slowly but surely, the people get used to it, even vote for it, until one day its grip is too tight. Then it's too late. In this and virtually all else it does, the Democrat Party's loathing of America is boundless. This election is about those of us who love this country, who don't want to destroy it any further through open borders, through crime, international gangs, who don't want to destroy it any further by diminishing the value of our currency, by driving up the cost of basic needs and subsistence that people need to survive. It's a very simple election. Put aside the media. Put aside the prognosticators. Put aside all the mouthpieces. This is a very simple election. You're voting whether you want to live in a free society, a prosperous society, a society that creates good-paying jobs, a society that believes in law and order and safety in our streets, a society that believes in an opportunity for everybody through a free country and a free economic system, a society that rewards merit not identity politics, a society that has vibrant schools where kids are actually educated rather than manipulated, rather than seized upon by perverse ideologies. This is very simple. It's very simple. Do you want to live in a nation that believes in liberty or a nation that is pursuing tyranny? Kamala Harris is a fraud. She's a concoction. She's a fiction. She's a bomb thrower. And when Donald Trump said today in Raleigh, North Carolina, could not be more correct. Cut 8, Mr. Producer, go.
The past 9 years, we have been fighting against the most sinister and corrupt forces on earth. We have together, all of us together. With your vote in this election, you can show them once and for all that this nation does not belong to them. This nation belongs to you. Belongs to you. Because it was the hardworking patriots like you who built this country, and tomorrow it is the hardworking patriots like you who are going to save our country. Think of this, I won't be doing this anymore with North Carolina, and I won't be doing this anymore with, after today, I'm just thinking as I'm going through this, that this will be our final moment, but the more exciting moment is going to begin. See, these moments of hundreds and hundreds of the most incredible rallies that any country, no country's ever seen anything like it. But these moments that we've had together, these really were just to create what we hopefully will create tomorrow, which is we're going to make America great again.
This is a man who unequivocally loves America. A billionaire who did not have to expose himself to the hell of the ruling class in Washington, D.C., the American Pravda media, and the vicious character assassination tactics of the Marxists and the Democrat Party. This is a man who's had to go into courtroom after courtroom in one corner of the country after the other, from district attorneys to attorneys general to an unconstitutional prosecutor. This is truly a man who's been targeted by our government, by the Democrat Party for complete destruction, and yet he still stands. This is a man who barely escaped an assassin's bullet, and yes, I believe God saved him. I really do. But whether or not he did, thank God he was saved. And it was about to be the subject of another assassination attempt, if it wasn't for a woman happening to drive down the road who saw a suspicious figure in the woods. It's a man who's the target of the Iranian regime, which wants to assassinate him. And I want you to think about something tonight. If Donald Trump doesn't win this election, they're going to put him in federal prison. And that's part of their motivation, because they're Marxists. They hate the country. They're the enemy within. They don't care if it divides the country in ways that it can never come together again. After all, don't you understand? You're garbage. You're neo-Nazis. You're zombies. You're deplorables. That's how they view you. You're the enemy. And they want to put him in prison for the rest of his life. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about it. If we lose this election, what happens to this country? I want you to think about it. That forevermore, the kind of campaign the Democrats are running, the way in which they imposed Kamala Harris on us, that this will become the norm, not the exception. I want you to think about a nation with no borders, because that's what we will become. Your neighborhoods and communities overrun with criminal gangs, with terrorists. Your schools so bogged down in 15 different languages I can't teach your children. I want you to think about local law enforcement overrun, that they can't keep the streets safe. I want you to think about all those women sold into sex slavery and all those children who are missing, also sold into sex slavery, because that's going to be the norm. I want you to think of American girls being raped and brutalized and murdered with almost no consequence, because that's going to be the norm. That's going to be the new America she talks about, the future America. Turn the page. Turn the page, she says. To what? To Marxist utopia? To a lawless utopia? Is that it? I want you to think about what's going to happen to your country if we lose and they win. I want you to think about your children. What kind of country are they going to live in? And your grandchildren, what's going to be left for them? I really want you to think about it. And when this program's over tonight, or even during the course of this program, I want you to use your laptops, your computers, your iPhones to make calls, to tell people to join you tomorrow. As you get up with a wind at your back and your chin up high, that I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote early, and I'm going to vote to save my country from my family and the heroes that have come before us and the heroes who await us. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
History shows that post-election periods can bring economic turmoil. It's about bracing for the economic fallout that could follow. But this time, with our national debt skyrocketing, global tensions rising, and God knows what else, we could be facing unprecedented risks. Economic dislocation, runaway stagflation, even worse. And, of course, undermining the value of the currency. That's the big concern. Your financial security. The answer is diversity. Diversity with what? In my view, gold. Gold has been said to be a reliable wealth shield for thousands of years through some of the worst economic storms. And for my gold investments, I trust Advantage Gold. I recommend them to anyone serious about helping to protect their own wealth. Call them right now. 800-900-8000. Get a free gold investment kit to see how you can get started with gold. You can even qualify for up to $1,000 in free silver. That's 800-900-8000. Call them now. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Now, trust me, you'll be happy you did. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Kamala Harris has never done anything for the black community, and I challenge anybody to call this program and tell me what it is. She's never done a damn thing for the Latino community. In fact, she's wreaked horror on that community on the southern border. The Asian community, the Indian community, and the Jewish community. In fact, we have Ethan Dodd in the New York Post. Pittsburgh's Jewish Democrats consider voting for Trump after Harris campaign cozies up to anti-Israel politicians in Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh's Jewish community is putting the Harris-Walz campaign on notice as they hurdle toward Election Day. Stand with Israel and denounce anti-Israel activists, or you'll face Democratic defections at the ballot box. I sure as hell hope so. This is the most anti-Israel, anti-Semitic candidate in American history. She has surrounded herself with jihadis. And in fact, there's multiple reports out that after this election, Harris and Biden intend to make a massive boycott of weapons to the state of Israel. But they want you to vote for them first. The backlash has been brewing since the Harris campaign hosted speakers in Pittsburgh at her rallies who have blamed Israel for the October 7 attacks that killed 1,200 people in southern Israel, despite explicit pleas from the Jewish community. The campaign ignored those pleas, a person familiar with the conversation told the Post, and went on to give speaking roles to Pittsburgh Mayor Ed Gainley and Allegheny County Executive Sarah Amarado, opening for Barack Obama and Tim Walz, respectively. Gainley and Amarado have come under fire from Pittsburgh's Jewish voters since co-signing a statement with squad member Summer Lee that implied Israel was responsible for the massacre, claiming the violence did not start on October 7th. These are Kamala Harris's friends. I've been saying it for months. The statement released on the one-year anniversary of October 7 prompted swift condemnation from Jewish community leaders across Pittsburgh, home to a sizable chunk of the swing state's 400,000-strong Jewish population, poised to cast their ballots tomorrow. And with those votes on the line, Democrat dalliances with anti-Israel politicians, they're jihadis, could mean losing Pennsylvania. That's not far-fetched, as several Jewish Democrats in Pittsburgh tell the Post. Well, I sure as hell hope you're right, because this person, Kamala Harris, is cutting it both ways with ads in Dearborn, Michigan, and in Philadelphia. She despises the state of Israel and the Jewish people. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome back, America. 2 big hours left. This will be our last meeting before tomorrow morning, when by the tens of millions, I pray to God you go to the polls and you bring people who are reluctant voters with you, and you change the course of history. As Ronald Reagan would say, we have a rendezvous with our destiny. What will our destiny be? I heard some commentator just say, you know, we always say these elections are the end of the world. Let me tell you something. We lose this election, they're going to put Donald Trump in prison. They're going to destroy the independence of the Supreme Court. They're going to eliminate the filibuster. They're going to add 4 Democrats to the Senate. They've already told us all these things. They're going to give citizenship to tens of millions of illegal aliens who will then use chain migration, bring in tens of millions more. You'll never recognize this country again. And I'm not talking about color. I'm talking about culture. There is an American culture, unlike any other in the world, and that's to be celebrated. That's to be celebrated. 2 million people lost their lives fighting for it and creating it. I cannot believe that we will surrender a country that was handed to us by our forefathers to the lowest elements of Marxism and jihadism. And for what? Is that going to improve the price of food? No. Fuel, they hate fuel. She wants to destroy energy independence. Now, those of you who are listening to this program, on whatever platform, I want to repeat something I said a long time ago about Donald Trump. You will never see his likes again. Never again. For the rest of your life. He's an iconic figure. He's a historic figure for all times. This is why they're trying to destroy him. Even during his presidency, they didn't give him a minute's worth of peace. Nobody has ever put so much on the line as Donald Trump to be your president. Oh, it's true, some have been assassinated. I'm not counting that, because he was almost assassinated. And God willing, he won't be. But nobody's put themselves, their family, their finances, their liberty on the line like this man. Kamala Harris has nothing in the game, as they say. Nothing. She's put nothing on the line. It's all gratis for her. It's all gratis for her. Donald Trump has put everything on the line for us. For you and me. There's never been anyone like him. I want you to think about something. People talk about, oh, the way he talks. If you were charged with 91 crimes all over the United States and you hadn't committed a single crime, how would you react? If you had an attorney general in a state that said that she's going to come after you and she uses a non-existent law, and the judge in the case is a Stalinist-like judge working for the Democrat Party and wants to take all your holdings that you built for your entire life, the whole skyline of New York and elsewhere, wants to seize them all, how would you react? If you're in a courtroom in Manhattan and your due process rights and your equal protection rights and all the other rights that come along in a criminal trial have been denied you, and you're convicted by a Democrat jury, on all counts. How would you react? If you were being chased by an unconstitutional special prosecutor who'd been admonished repeatedly by the United States Supreme Court, but was appointed by this regime for the sole purpose of hunting you down and taking you out, and that case was in front of an Obama judge who has no business wearing a black robe, has no business being in a courtroom of any kind, where she rules again and again and again and again for the government, how would you react? How would you react if your children are dragged in front of grand juries? How would you react if your children are dragged in front of a January 6th committee? How would you react if your children were dragged in front of the House Judiciary Committee and other committees for the purpose of impeaching you and punishing you? How would you react? Not well. You'd give up. You'd say enough is enough. This isn't worth it. My family, my fortune, my liberty, my reputation. They tried to kill me twice. They call me Hitler. I have Jewish family. They call me Hitler. They call me a fascist. They call me a dictator. And all I'm trying to do is protect the American people from the Washington ruling class that wants to lord over them, that wants to fine them for purchasing the wrong car, the wrong washing machine and dishwasher and dryer, the wrong lawnmower and ceiling fan. Donald Trump is a quintessential American hero. He deserves a medal for what he's put up with, even within his own party. The Cheneys, the Bushes, the Ryans, the Christies. Abraham Lincoln wasn't considered a great president until he was assassinated. He was viciously attacked in the newspapers and in the pamphlets during the Civil War, viciously. He was an extremely unpopular president near the end of his first term. Extremely unpopular. The Civil War seemed like it would never end. One stupid general after another. Sound familiar? The death toll was enormous. You have draft riots in New York City. People had had enough. Every household was touched, north and south. But then Grant comes, Sherman comes, victory comes. Then he's assassinated. Considered, if not number one, the number two greatest president in American history. But not while he was alive. No, they called him all kinds of names. The people at the time didn't realize what a tremendous man they had among them. This historic, iconic figure. Just as so much of the country doesn't realize what a historic, iconic figure Donald Trump is. He truly is. He's exactly what we needed, exactly the right time. Please be motivated. Many of you have already voted. That's not enough. Please pick up your phones. Talk to other people. And those of you who haven't voted, you be the first at your precinct. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
The big wireless carriers want to limit you to two choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk. George Soros tried to silence us in Philadelphia and southeastern Pennsylvania by removing us from WPHT. WNTP stepped up. I'm very grateful for them, so the people in and around Philadelphia can hear this program. We have a great Senate candidate who must win in Wisconsin, and he's running against Tammy Baldwin. Eric Hovde. Eric Hovde, you're running a hell of a campaign. I wanted to give you a few minutes at the end here to make some final comments. We're heard throughout the state, as you know, of Wisconsin. What do you want to tell the people of Wisconsin? Because they're on the cusp of making a big difference between you, a man who believes in liberty and opportunity, has a positive view for America, and your opponent, who's part of the cabal in Washington, D.C., dragging down Wisconsin and the rest of the country.
Absolutely, Mark. And Mark, great being on your show, and I so always enjoy, being on your show. Look, this is probably the most consequential election that I can ever remember in my 60 years of life.
Agree.
Look,
yep.
what do President Trump and I want to do? He wants to make America great again, and I fully support, and I want to restore the American dream. What does Kamala Harris and Senator Baldwin want to do? They told you 4 years ago. They want to change America, and they sure have in the last 4 years, and it hasn't been pretty. What do President Trump and I want to do? We want to support our Constitution, that most beautiful document that our founding fathers gave us. What do they want to do? They want to rip up the Constitution, have liberal judges, activist judges write our laws, and every time they get a chance to attack our right of free speech and right to bear arms and protect ourselves, they try to take that away. President Trump and I, we want to market system that has made us the wealthiest people in the world. What do they want to do? They want to drag us down that path of socialism. And lastly, what do we want to do? We want to support the traditional family, the family unit that's the bedrock of human society. And what do? All their policies are destructive to the family. They want to redefine the family. Heck, Mark, they can't even tell you what a woman or a guy is. So it's time for change, folks. And it's time to sweep the broom of career politicians like Senator Baldwin.
They're promoting this dystopia, are they not, Eric? I mean, this dystopia of economic socialism, cultural Marxism, the reshaping of the American people through that's the language of the New York Times, through massive illegal immigration and then chain migration and give people the vote so the opposition can never win. This is really an effort to take our Constitution and shred it and replace it with an ideology that is hostile to families, that is hostile to our history, that is hostile to freedom, that is hostile to constitutionalism. And your opponent is leading the way, Tammy Baldwin, and Kamala Harris is an absolute radical bomb thrower who has spent $1.2 billion trying to reinvent herself.
Mark, you can't even make this stuff up. I mean, she shifted on every position. Senator Baldwin, who always tries to masquerade as a moderate, is always voted one of the 2-3 most liberal senators. Look, you said it exactly right. What have they done? They've racked up more debt in the last 3.5 years in our country's first 230 years. They're bankrupting our country and our children's future and our grandchildren's future. What have they done to our domestic security? We all want to live in safe communities and send our kids to safe schools. What have they done? They pushed the defund the police movement, and then they opened our southern border and flooded our country with illegal immigrants and brought in crime and fentanyl that's flooding our streets. What have they done? They've made us less safe in the world. We have wars all over because of their incompetent withdrawal from Afghanistan. And then lastly, what have they done that has been so destructive? They've divided us. They divide us on gender, by race, by socioeconomic class, and religion. This is what socialists do. They divide the populace up as they gain power, And you're right. They've created a dystopian version of America, and that's where they're driving to. But tomorrow we can take it back. We can save our country, but it requires everybody listening to get out and vote and go grab your elderly parents or your friends or neighbors or your colleagues or the people you go fishing or hunting or watching Packer games or go to church with. Everybody has to get out and do this.
This is absolutely crucial. This is absolutely crucial because if we turn out in large numbers and we bring people with us, we will win. We will put an end to this, maybe, hopefully, once and for all. Because, I was saying, Eric Hovde, very, very important that you vote for him tomorrow, and all down ballots in Wisconsin. We gotta take the House and hold it, win the Senate, win the presidency, and clean this thing up. I was saying, Donald Trump is actually a historic, iconic figure when you think what he's been through, the effort to bankrupt him, to put him in prison, 2 ridiculous impeachments. They never gave this guy a minute's peace when he was elected, and they won't again, but he's ready. So this is a man that has put everything on the line, has given up everything, and Kamala Harris is somebody who hasn't had to give up a damn thing, not now, not ever. She really has nothing on the line, does she?
Nothing. And she's been supported by big tech and big Wall Street and other special interests that will control her because all she'll be is a puppet like Senator Baldwin is. And, if we win tomorrow, it will be a crushing defeat for the legacy media because they have been so manipulative. So they're just propaganda tools. And fortunately, a lot of Americans have woken up to that. And hopefully it'll crater a lot of these legacy media companies. And that's why people like you, Mark, are so important to cut through all the BS that they keep trying to spread. So it's such a consequential election on so many different levels, and that's just another area that we need to reshape our media and start holding big tech accountable for the stuff that they're doing to try to suppress our right of free speech and manipulate elections.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Wisconsin and all over the country, you can hear what a fantastic gentleman Eric Hovde is. We need to have a crushing victory that nobody has seen coming. The Levinites, the Patriots, the Constitutionalists, the Trumpites, the Reaganites. We need to turn out. We need to unite en masse, huge numbers, and elect Eric Hovde to the United States Senate and other great candidates running, and elect wonderful congressmen or people to the position of the House of Representatives, and elect Donald Trump. If you want to celebrate Tuesday night or Wednesday or whenever the hell this thing's over, if you want to celebrate, well, it takes a lot of work. And I cannot more strongly endorse Eric Hovde for the United States Senate. I think he would be absolutely fantastic. So that people in Wisconsin, wake up early tomorrow. Bring your family with you and others. Be the first one in line. Be motivated and excited. Tomorrow's Liberty Day. Tomorrow's Save America Day. And we wish you all the best, Eric Hovde. I can't wait for you to become a senator, God willing. We'll be back. The big wireless carriers want to limit you to 2 choices when it comes to data, unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk.
Mark Levin, the thunder on the right. Call in now, 877-381-3811.
It's a great honor to have our friend, America's Governor, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida. Governor DeSantis, a lot of people, 60% of the nation, or give or take, who are going to vote tomorrow. What do you want to tell them about the importance, the historic nature of this election?
Well, first, just as a fellow Floridian, I think it's great that right now in the state of Florida, we've turned out 850,000 more Republicans than Democrats in the early and mail vote, and we anticipate having a strong advantage on Election Day. So I just think about all the elections we've watched over the years where Florida kind of hung in the balance, always on pins and needles. That is not going to happen this year. So Florida's off the board.
Well, let's stop a minute. Let's be honest. That's because of you. Listen, I'm not kissing up. Hold on now. I remember when you won by the skin of your teeth as governor. And you've created an environment in that state where people want to live, including me and my family. I'm just being honest. With your low tax rates and all the rest of it, competent government, you stay out of our face. And that's all people want. And so I'll salute you, even though you won't salute yourself. Go ahead.
So that's off the board, and so now you're focusing on 7 other states, Florida's not being one of them. What I would say is a couple things. One, we know that we have an administration that has allowed our border to be open, and we've now been overwhelmed with millions of illegals, including people that really mean the country harm from very dangerous countries. Kamala will double down on that. In fact, she's more liberal than Biden on policies like that. And I think it's inevitable, Mark, if this continues, there's going to be a series of terrorist attacks in this country from people that came across the southern border, and that could be a permanent part of American life if we have another 10 million to come in. And even if we don't, I think it's still very, very dangerous. That's first thing. Second thing, judges. We are going to have, the next president is going to appoint potentially a Supreme Court justice, maybe 2, maybe 3. And we don't know what's going to happen, to justice. I mean, all of our justices seem like they're in good health, but you never know. She will appoint justices that are more left-wing than Biden and Obama. Obviously, Donald Trump is going to appoint judges that are our speed in terms of being constitutionalists. So huge difference, not just on the Supreme Court, but all the federal courts, particularly these appeals courts. And Biden has stacked those appeals courts with a lot of really bad judges, and it's been really, really harmful for the country. And then I also think in terms of national security and America's role in the world, Biden's weakness has invited a lot of threats. It's invited a lot of turmoil throughout the world. Kamala would be weaker and less sure-footed than Biden would be. And so I think the threats would metastasize to this country. Who knows what would end up happening in terms of our footprint or what we could get dragged into. Whereas Donald Trump, the good thing about when he was president is our enemies feared him. They didn't know what the hell he would do. And I think the difference between a Harris and a Trump in terms of national security is night and day. So those are just very, very clear differences I think that all conservatives could very much appreciate.
It's time for the Republicans, all of them, to come home, isn't it, Governor?
Yeah, I think you're seeing that. I mean, I always said Biden was going to be replaced. And I was concerned that if the Democrats nominated somebody that at least superficially seemed a little bit more reasonable, that potentially they can peel off some of these Republicans. But I think when they went with Harris, the reality is she's a vapid San Francisco leftist. She's been that her whole life. She was more liberal than Bernie Sanders when she was a U.S. Senator. She was the most liberal Democrat presidential primary candidate in 2020, and that's just who she is. So I think people that are Republican, they look at that. I think that's a really, really tough nut for them to crack, and so I just don't think she's going to be able to attract very many Republican votes.
Do you think the $1.2 billion they've spent on trying to create a fiction here, a concoction, an image of somebody that doesn't exist, you think that'll be effective?
Well, let's just be clear. It has been effective to a point, because if you and I were having this conversation 6 months ago and we thought about Kamala Harris being their nominee, you and I would be chuckling. We would be laughing. We'd be like, well, there's just no way, right? And she was very unpopular. And I predict this. In fact, I told President Trump this. I said they're going to replace Biden, and whoever they replace him with, the media is going to shower that candidate with hundreds of millions of dollars of positive and fawning publicity, which they have done. And then the candidate would raise huge amounts of money, which Harris has done. So you have the combination of legacy media basically whitewashing all her faults, presenting her in a favorable light. Saturday Night Live, of course, doing their part by having her on in a very, very flattering way. And then her campaign, and these liberal super PACs, they plaster the airways. In Florida, we don't even get any local ads. We get all the national ads. And if I'm watching football games or the World Series, the national ads, there's like 4-1 Harris of anybody else. And so they have done that. And I do think it has had an effect. I mean, I think it's benefited her. I think her favorability has gone up. I think her job approval has gone up. Now, I do think that as she gave interviews, as she peeked her head out from kind of behind that veneer, I think people have seen the real Harris, and I do think it's hurt her. But make no mistake, when you have that much firepower from both legacy media constantly pursuing their narrative and basically unlimited money to light up the airwaves, that does make a difference. I don't think it's going to be enough to get her over the finish line, but let's just be clear. If the roles were reversed and she got 100% negative press like Donald Trump and he got 100% positive, that would be worth 5 percentage points.
You're 100% right. Now, in your own state, you have a couple of devious things going on. You got Amendment 3 and Amendment 4. What is Amendment 3?
Well, Mark, you and I are of the same mind as being constitutionalists, and you would agree with this. When you're amending the Constitution, that's not like passing a statute. This is permanent, and if you have any doubt about what's in an amendment or what it would do, the default is to vote no. Just vote no on the amendments if you don't understand them. Now, this Amendment 3 was written by the CEO of a mega marijuana company, and the company has now put in $141 million in terms of advertising and all these other things to try to get it passed. It's kind of portrayed in the media as, recreational marijuana. The reality is it is partially, but it's mostly a scheme for this company to enrich itself. So, for example, it would put in our Constitution a right to possess and smoke marijuana, but you got to buy the marijuana from them. They don't give you the right to grow your own. They also don't limit the ability of people to smoke marijuana in public places. So you're talking about like football stadiums, restaurants, parks.
And the stuff stinks.
Nobody wants Florida to turn into California. No. We don't want Florida to turn into Denver. But get this, Mark. This is really, I think, underhanded. And you don't see it on the ballot. You got to read the text of the amendment on the Secretary of State's website, which they hide from you. They're giving themselves total immunity from civil liability. Now, can you imagine that? You can smoke and possess weed, but you got to buy it from them. But if their weed gets you sick, you can't sue them, and that's in our Constitution. So there's no way, and this company is traded on the Canadian Stock Exchange, so they have a fiduciary duty to their shareholders. They could not spend $141 million just because they think it'll make the world a better place. They're doing that because they know they're trying to put in our Constitution a guaranteed revenue stream for their company. So it's a totally inappropriate use of a Constitution. It's a horribly written amendment. Obviously, the debate on marijuana has been going on. I think Colorado, California, New York are cautionary tales. I don't think it's worked in terms of what they've done. But even if you like marijuana, this is not the way to do it. This is a corporate cartel trying to enrich itself at your expense.
And you know what? If they set a precedent, there'll be a lot of corporate cartels trying to amend the Constitution in Florida with $100 million, $150 million in spending as propaganda. And so what you're saying, what I hear as a citizen of Florida is, why would you amend the Constitution for a company that wants to make a fortune off of marijuana, does not want to be held accountable legally for anything, does not want any competition of any kind, and thinks that people should be free to walk around in the restaurants and everything else smoking marijuana? That's not Florida. You're 100% right. That's not even all of California. Maybe it's San Francisco. Now, Governor, you have another one that I want the people to understand in Florida, and that is Amendment 4. And this is an amendment that is illustrative of where the Democrat Party is on this stuff, which is radical and extreme. Why don't you explain it?
So this is Soros, all the left-wing groups funding $120 million to do an amendment to Florida's Constitution that would basically authorize abortion up until the moment of birth, eliminate parental consent for minors, allow non-physicians to greenlight abortions up till the moment of birth and lead to taxpayer funding of abortions. And so this is what the left wants to do. Between the marijuana and this, they want us to become California through the back door. Interesting on this. So they've done $120 million, which is an incredible amount. I mean, the marijuana is the most ever, but this is probably second most. And this money is coming from all these left-wing C4 groups, including the 1630 Fund. Now, 1630 Fund is funded by a foreign billionaire. Hundreds of millions of dollars have gone into the 1630 Fund. So you literally have them spending foreign money in Florida to try to amend Florida's constitution. So this is very radical extreme. Interesting, if you're in Florida and you see their ads, they talk about situations, rape and incest, life, health of the mother, ectopic pregnancies, women who have miscarriages. And the thing is, Florida law does not stop any of that. It is a total lie about what our law does, and that's what I found. They don't want to argue why they think, elective abortion at 6 months is something that's acceptable, because I think most people know, the baby can feel pain. It is a fully formed baby at that point, and it's just a lot of people don't want to do that, including me. But they're lying about what Florida law does, and we have under our heartbeat bill, we have exceptions for rape, incest, life, and health of the mother, victims of human trafficking, and of course, things like miscarriages and ectopic pregnancies. Those are not in any way, regulated. In fact, a doctor, not only are they allowed to treat, they're required to treat. They would be, they'd lose their medical license if they didn't do it. So I've never seen a campaign where they lie so much. But here's the thing: the voters have caught on to this. They know that's not the law in Florida. They know they're being lied to, and so both of these amendments, I'm happy to report, have lost a lot of support in the last couple weeks. I think if folks just go out and vote no on both of them tomorrow, I do think they're going to go down. I think they're going to go down hard.
I must say, since I've been voting Governor DeSantis, probably 90% of the time I vote no on whatever's on the damn ballot, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just
not
the
a bad way
I
to do
am.
it.
Yeah. All right, Governor. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for fighting for liberty and the truth. And God bless you, my friend.
All right. God bless, Mark. Take care.
Take care of yourself. He's great. Absolutely great. By the way, Mark Pincus is a multi-billionaire in the state of California. He's an internet entrepreneur. He said, I've given $1 million to every Democrat presidential candidate, the last 4, including Biden and Harris, and I'm voting for Donald Trump. I've had enough. I've had enough of what they're doing to the economy. I've had enough of what they're doing to Israel. I've had enough. Let's just hope there's enough people who feel exactly the same way. It's back to busy schedule, isn't it? I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
The big wireless carriers want to limit you to 2 choices when it comes to data: unlimited or unlimited. And guess what? Both are stupidly expensive. So folks, stop overpaying for data you're never going to use. That's like paying for a pot of coffee when you only need a cup, or filling your entire truck bed full of gas when you only need a tank. With Pure Talk, my cell phone company, you get to choose how much data you actually want. Listen to this. For just $25 a month, get unlimited talk, text, and 5 gigs of data, which is more than enough, plus mobile hotspot. Folks, stop overpaying for wireless and get America's best 5G coverage with Pure Talk. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/Levin. Switching is easy. There's no contract. There's no activation fees. You can even keep your phone and your number. Again, that's puretalk.com/Levin, Levin, and you'll save an additional 50% off your first month when you sign up with Pure Talk. We're with you, President Trump. I can tell the army of Levinites, the patriots out here, they're fired up. Many of them have already voted, early voting, and God bless them. And many of you waited till Election Day. This is your big day. But those of you who have voted early, and those of you who have waited, now's the evening, now's the night. Depending on where you're listening, now's the afternoon. To contact the people you know, maybe you have elderly parents, grandparents, brothers and sisters, cousins, co-workers. Hey, you need a lift to the election precinct? You need a lift? I'm happy to take you. Let's get up early in the morning. donuts. Grab a donut. This would be me. I can't even drive right now. I can barely walk. It's pathetic. But we've done a lot here in this family, more than we've ever done before. I can tell you that, every darn member of this family. And why don't we get a couple donuts and a cup of coffee? Come with me. Let's go vote. Come on. That's what we need to do. That's what you need to do. We've got a ton left. 1 hour left between us, among us, and Election Day, so don't miss it. And remember, that cell phone you have, the ability to text and call people, put it to great use they never expected you to put it to.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Welcome back, America. 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. That's our number. Montana is a crucially important state if we're going to take the Senate. Tim Sheehy is the hero Republican running against Jon Tester, who's been sitting there forever, and he thinks he represents Boston, Massachusetts. Tim Sheehy, it was only a matter of time till the media would come and try and viciously attack you with information given to them by the opposition party. Are you holding up okay? What do the voters think of all this?
Well, the people of Montana are pretty used to Jon Tester's tactics as they're seeing it now. And this is how he wins every race. You know, he smears his opponents. That's the only way he can win because he's fundamentally unpopular in his policy positions. As you know, he's Chuck Schumer's lapdog in D.C. and doesn't take a vote without his express permission. So when he comes home and plays his two-faced Tester game, people see through it pretty quick. And what we're hearing on the ground is everyone's ready to see Trump in the White House. They're ready for America First agenda. But they also realize that can't get done unless the Senate's there to support Trump when he's there. And unfortunately for Montana, that Senate runs right through our state, and we got to win this race, and we're going to tomorrow.
So the people of Montana, I mean, it's a tough state to poll. It's a tough state to get to the various polls. It's just so big. How's your ground game out there? Is it as good as it can be?
This cycle, it's fantastic. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Mark. Historically, the state Republican Party in decades past has not had much infrastructure. As you know, we used to be a Democrat state for almost a century. So, but what we've seen here in these last 2 years is a fantastic investment in grassroots infrastructure. And we've really been fighting this campaign door to door. The media has been against us since day one, as we knew they would be. We knew Chuck Schumer was going to outspend us 3-1, 5-1, which is what it's been. So we went to the ground game. Every town, every VFW hall, and our ground game as far as door knocking, early voting, ballot harvesting, making sure we're actually getting the votes out is going great right now. We're showing, I think, about 75% of ballots in. We expect, by the time that today's count is up, should be perhaps even over 80%. So early voting's in. It's favoring us. And I got to give a lot of credit to our state party and a lot of national groups, too, who've invested in a tremendous amount of ground game here to put us in the position we're in.
Have these vicious attacks on you, and I was watching CBS, which I almost never do. I don't know what happened. I must have had I don't know. But I watched a little bit, and their coverage of you was horrendous, of course. They had Testers, the good old boy from a town of 600 people. And then, of course, questions came up about your military background. This is kind of par for the course, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately, that's been their tactic the entire time. And we've never had a fair shake in the media at any point in this race. You know, most candidates get a honeymoon period where they get a profile piece and, hey, here's what they've done. My wife and I joined the military at 18 years old. She was a Marine Corps officer. I was a Navy SEAL. We both served multiple tours overseas, almost all of mine in combat, hundreds of missions, lost friends, got wounded. And came home and started a company from scratch in our barn, and we created hundreds of jobs. And we fight wildfires. That's our business. It's not like we're making yoga pants. We fight wildfires from the air. We're water bombers. So it's an important mission. We're proud to do it. And along the way, we've been successful. We've donated millions to local charities, improved our hospitals in state. Not because I was running for office, because I wasn't at the time. It was because it was the right thing to do for our growing community. And, unfortunately, every single one of those things I talked about, they've attacked and assaulted. They literally tried to put our company out of business, short-sold our stock, engineered lawsuits against us, went after my charities, and as you see now, smearing my military service. So it's really pretty pathetic. It's par for the course for Jon Tester. It's how he runs every race. But the polls show that we're winning. Tomorrow's polls are the only one that really matters, which is Election Day. But I think people are seeing through this, and frankly, they're sick and tired of watching Jon Tester do this to every opponent. With $150 million of dark money, $200 million of dark money, this is what he does every time, and they're sick of it.
And not only that, he lies about his record. I mean, the man is as radical left in his voting record as anybody from the radical left towns in this country. And people like me, we're not in Montana, we're not from Montana, we look back and say, how the hell does this happen? I mean, this guy...
Well, yeah. And you talk about CBS's coverage. Nobody talks about that Jon Tester takes donations from dead people. Nobody talks about the fact that he was paying female athletes to endorse him because he had to cover up the fact that he voted to let boys play girls' sports. They don't talk about the fact that he's the largest recipient of lobbyist cash of any politician in the nation. Number one. But, of course, these all get glossed over by the Washington Post and New York Times and CBS because these are minor details that, of course, don't have no bearing on the fact that he's a Chuck Schumer rubber stamp.
And they make him like he's a good old boy from a small town. Well, maybe, but he's been a politician his whole damn life, pretty much, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's coming up on 30 years, between state Senate, U.S. Senate. This will be his fourth term in the U.S. Senate. So he's a professional politician. I've never run for anything in my life, not even student council, not county commission, not Congress. This is the first thing I've ever run for, and the only reason I'm running for it, trust me, I don't want to be a senator. It sounds like a terrible job. I'm running because we got to save this country. We can't keep watching this happen. I fought for this country. My wife fought for this country. I'm not going to watch it slip away, and that's why I'm standing up right now. And they're going to try to destroy me for it, but we've been fighting for 18 months now. Went from 0% name ID last year. No one knew who the hell I was. And now the polls show us winning this race. So we're going to keep fighting just like we have for the next 24 hours, and we're going to win tomorrow.
We're talking to Tim Sheehy. Let me tell you something, Montana. Very few states have an opportunity to elect a hero, conservative, somebody who's really going to stand up for the interests of their own state. There's a handful going on in this country right now, and you've got one of them, Tim Sheehy. Jon Tester is the senator from Washington, D.C., by way of Boston and New York City. That's what he is. He does what he's told to do on the East Coast, and that's who he represents. And then he comes back there with friendly media, with tens of millions of dollars, and he lies to you. And you're seeing the same thing with Kamala Harris, aren't you, Tim? I mean, she's lying about herself. She's trying to present herself as this sort of moderate, happy face when she is a radical left-wing bomb thrower and always has been.
Well, I mean, the Democrat Party, I mean, the D after the candidate doesn't stand for Democrat anymore. It stands for deception. I mean, they are the party of deception. They want to tell you that boys are girls and girls are boys. They want to tell you that borders are secure when it's very clearly not. They want to call us the threat to democracy when they're the party who's placed a candidate on the top of the most powerful ticket who's never gotten a vote, period. Hasn't run a primary. And now she's at the top of the ticket. They're obviously, we're suing to keep RFK off the ballot. Now they're suing to keep him off the ballot. They've been suing to take Trump off the ballot in battleground states. I mean, the list goes on. They are actively trying to dismantle democracy while saying we're the threat to it. They say we're the violent radical right. Meanwhile, they've tried to kill Trump twice in the last few months. Mm-hmm. And they say, we're the warmongers. Trump's going to start World War III when he was the first president to have no new wars in about 80 years. And under Biden, we've literally been watching the world fall apart around us. So at some point, you have to stand up and say, I mean, are we going to keep listening to this drivel? Are we going to keep allowing Kamala Harris and the Democrats to lecture us? Now she's pro-fracking, used to be anti-fracking. So it's the politics of deception, and I think those who stand up and speak truth are going to win.
Tim Sheehy, Kamala Harris will destroy the economy of Montana. She'll destroy the economy of states that rely on agriculture, minerals, ranching. That's what she'll do. She has no connection to them. She doesn't care about them. She comes out of San Francisco. She's demonstrated that she wants to destroy the combustion engine. She's demonstrated that she wants to destroy the ability to produce gasoline and oil. She really opposes mining of any sort. She really is sort of the anti-Montanan, isn't she?
You're absolutely right. I was just last week, the final days of the campaign was down at one of our mines, Spring Creek Mine in southeastern Montana. And I made a point to visit all of our resource industries, and I call it resource industries because we've seen an all-out war on America's resource industries, and we need those industries: timber, fossil fuels, coal, natural gas, copper, lithium. Anything we got to pull out of the ground to keep our economy running. We've seen those industries brutally assaulted under the Obama years, and of course even worse under the Biden years. And those industries are absolutely critical, not just for states like Montana, but for our nation. We are outsourcing the critical components that power our economy to other continents and other countries, many of whom are not our friends. And Kamala Harris wants to electrify the economy and have us all riding around on scooters here by the end of next week. Well, guess what? Even if that would happen, we need lithium, we need copper, we need minerals to be able to make those electric machines, which we, due to environmental litigation and radical bureaucrats in these agencies appointed by Democrats, we can't do common sense resource extraction. Mm-hmm. We're buying our timber from Canada and Chile. We're, buying our minerals from South America and Africa, even though we have all of it right here. And we can, if we get it from America, we get it with American jobs, with Montana jobs. Mm-hmm. It's safer, it's cleaner, it's better, and we have control over it. So it's about time we reboot our resource industries, and that sure as hell is not going to happen under a Kamala Harris, Jon Tester regime.
I just want the people of Montana to understand Jon Tester will vote with her every step of the way. That's what he does. Then he comes home and he lies about it. He does not represent the best interests of Montana. I can tell you, as somebody who watches this stuff, he simply does not, and he never has. He's power hungry, and he wants to hold on that seat. And I would just suggest you folks in Montana, it's time to broom him out. You have a perfect candidate here, Tim Sheehy. Tomorrow morning is the morning, and so you need to turn out. You need to turn out in big numbers. You need to bring your parents, your grandparents, cousins, your coworkers with you. You need to be the Paul Revere's, and you need to be the Thomas Paines, because it's we the people. Guys like Tim Sheehy, he doesn't need this. Donald Trump sure as hell doesn't need this. These people are fighting for we the people, so we the people have to step up. I wish you all the best, Tim. I really do. God bless you, my friend.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate all the support.
You got it. And thank you for everything you've done for us already, and what I hope you will do in the future. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Great pleasure to have our friend Bernie Moreno on, running in Ohio against Sherrod Brown, another liar and a phony and a fraud, an economic socialist, a cultural Marxist. Goes back to Ohio and he pretends he's a man of the people, that he's actually a Trump supporter. This guy needs to be broomed out. He's awful, awful, awful. You got a great opportunity for a great senator here, Ohio. Bernie, how are you, my friend?
We're feeling really good. The peak, we're peaking at exactly the right time. The polls are showing a good momentum. We have a 260,000 vote advantage, Republican and Democrat, in early voting, which ended yesterday.
All right, Bernie, don't get mad at me. I want you to tell people why they need to vote tomorrow, not why they need to sit on their ass and be glad we have early voting.
Well, they have to quote Thomas Jefferson, the government you elect is the government you deserve. And we deserve a government that loves America, loves Americans, and doesn't treat us like garbage.
Mm-hmm. But we need people to come out and vote early tomorrow, don't we? To be the first in line, to bring people with them who haven't voted. We need our Thomas Paines and Paul Revere's all throughout the beautiful state of Ohio, the state of Taft. It has a great history in the Republican Party and in this country. And so what do you want to tell people to encourage them to come out tomorrow and vote?
That Ohio gets to pick which party controls the United States Senate. We do that. We win this election. I win this election. I defeat Sherrod Brown. We get to be the first state that says that the Republican Party will control the United States Senate. That's uniquely on Ohio. Polls open at 6:30 a.m. Go out there and vote, and also encourage your friends, your family, your coworkers. Watch somebody shift while they go vote. Babysit your friends' kids while they go vote. Bring your parents that may need help to get to the polling booth. Drive them there. Do whatever it takes to overwhelm the ballot box. This has got to be a landslide election. The world needs to know that America rejects Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and Sherrod Brown, and we want a country run from the middle. That's common sense that restores our founding principles, Mark. That's what this country deserves.
Very well put. Excuse me. And we need people to vote. President, Senate, congressional races, and down ballot. It's the first time in my lifetime, Bernie, I've ever said, vote the complete Republican ticket. That's how bad this is if they win. That is, they're not interested in a few policy changes. They're interested in fundamentally altering the nature of this country, aren't they? And you know this better than anybody else.
Yeah, if heaven forbid Kamala Harris and Tim Walz win and Sherrod Brown wins, which means that Chuck Schumer stays as a majority leader, this country will be unrecognizable for our kids and grandkids. And it's incredible that this election is happening just on the eve of our 250th anniversary. I don't think that's a surprise. I think it's we have to determine who are we as a nation. Are we true to our founding principles, to the documents that started this country, our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution? Or are we going to go down the Marxist path that every other nation seems to be going down? Not here, not in America. It's why I'm running, Mark. It's why I'm sure you get up every day and you do your show. The world needs a free and strong America. Mm-hmm. Let's deliver that tomorrow for the world, not just for our fellow citizens.
And we can't rely on other people to do it for us, you know? What happened to the Roman Empire? What happened to Athens? Quite frankly, what happened to the British Empire? Empires don't survive. We're not an empire, but republics don't survive either. That's just the nature of the beast. Our republic is less than 300 years old. Rome, its republic, was about 500 years old. The entire empire was 1,000 years old. It doesn't even exist anymore. So the point is, ladies and gentlemen, you have a unique opportunity, thanks to our Constitution, to step up. You don't need to go to war. You don't need to leave your family for a long period of time, or your business or your job for a long period of time. You just need to vote, and you need to bring people with you. We need to overwhelm these people. We need to crush this radical Marxist jihadist movement. We need to crush it, and Ohio is critical. And Ohio needs to give us a senator that represents the American people and represents red-blooded Americans, and that's Bernie Moreno. It's that simple. Sherrod Brown has voted for every radical left-wing agenda item. He will vote to kill the independence of the Supreme Court. He will vote to kill the Electoral College. He will vote for 4 more Democrats in the U.S. Senate. He will vote for everything they want. Is that not true, Bernie?
He absolutely, and add one more. He actually said this 2 weeks ago. He will get rid of the filibuster to nationalize our elections so that we have universal mail-out balloting with no voter ID and non-citizens voting. That is the dream of the radical left. They want to destroy this country because they don't like America the way it exists today. They want to change it. They want to end it. I was born in Colombia, South America. I saw this happen to Venezuela, our neighboring country. We cannot allow that to happen here in America. Cannot happen. And tomorrow you're going to have long lines. I'm telling you, everybody in Ohio who's listening, there probably will be long lines. You wait in that line. People died to give you the right to vote. If you think that waiting an hour or two to vote is a sacrifice, think of the people that fought wars to keep this country safe and free. And then you stay in that line and you go vote.
And have a good time. Bring some people with you. Bring a couple of bottles of water. Bring a sandwich. Bring whatever it takes. Bring some donuts. You know, a cup of coffee and some donuts. That's fine, too. I remember as a kid, I told this story the other night, Bernie. Our polls opened, I think it was 6 a.m. in Pennsylvania, and I would work that precinct right up to 8 p.m. when they closed, and then I'd go home to find out the results. It was something I knew I had to do. So in order to vote, just get up early, set your alarm, be on a mission. Chin up, wind at your back. It's an exciting time to defeat the enemy, to take our country back from these people. And one of the ways to do it is obviously to vote for Donald Trump. But in Ohio, you have an opportunity that a lot of states don't have. You can vote for a man who is a patriot, Bernie Moreno. Final words, Bernie.
Go out there and vote like your country depends on it, because it does. I mean, this is the election, Mark, that we'll talk to our kids and grandkids about. Thank you for doing what you're doing. We're going to win tomorrow with everybody's help. Let's make it happen.
Amen, brother. God bless and good luck. And I hope you do become a senator. You would be fantastic. We'll be right back.
Mark Levin, the champion of liberty and true conservatism. Call Mark now, 877-381-3811.
You fired up, baby? You fired up? You ready to roll? You got your alarm set on your iPhone or whatever you use? You're going to make some contacts this evening? Come on now. The world's depending on you. Your children and grandchildren are. Don't be afraid. They're not afraid. It's very simple. It's a matter of arithmetic. We have to outnumber them, plus some, because they have a lot of the courts and a lot of the judges, you know. You can do this. We need to turn out. We need to send a message to the whole damn world. We need to send a message to our media, to the Democrat Party. We're not taking their crap anymore. We need to unite from all walks of life, union, non-union, blue collar, white collar, no collar. Black, white, in between, doesn't matter. We need to unite and defend our principles and defend our Constitution and our own personal liberty. We need to secure our border. We need sound money. We need to defend our brothers and sisters in Israel and the rest of the world, not undermine them. They're fighting the jihadists for us. We need to support our cops and our firefighters. We need to support our military and first responders. We need to make life better for each other. Bring down costs. Kamala Harris was the vote that drove up the costs. And yes, knock it off with these electric vehicles. You want an electric vehicle? Go get it. But that doesn't mean we can't drive the automobiles we have and we want. They need to respect us, we the people. They need to respect us. They don't respect us. They lie to us. $1.2 billion in slick ads coming out of New York and Washington, D.C. Is that how they're going to buy you off? Not me, and not most of you. But you've got to do more. You've got to be a little bit more daring. You've got to talk to other people. Offer them a drive. Tell them you'll watch their kids. Go vote. Go vote. Please go vote. You know what to do. You don't need me to keep telling you. Also, in Texas, Senator Ted Cruz. In Arizona, Carrie Lake. In Pennsylvania, Dave McCormick. In Nevada, Sam Brown and other places. We don't have room for everybody, but we've had everybody on more than once. It matters. We've had the president on more than once. We've had the vice president, or hopefully the vice president, on, J.D. Vance. We've had the Speaker of the House on the program, among others. We've had members of Congress or would-be members of Congress in very, very close races. It's really up to you, every one of these communities, on who you want to represent you. And the funny thing is, the Democrats are not moderates. They're radical, bomb-throwing Marxist jihadists. That's what they are, and that's what Kamala Harris is. $1.2 billion in lies and propaganda to the American people. The oligarchs think they got it. They think they got it the way they imposed Biden on us and told us he's as smart as Einstein. The question is whether we, the American people, are going to tolerate this anymore. I'm betting we're not. But it's up to you. It's up to me. It's up to our fellow citizens. One of the most critical elections in our nation's history. It's here now, it's tomorrow. The current regime has failed us. The borders are wide open. Prices are sky high. They're attacking what is good and they're promoting what is evil. Real common sense solutions. They're within reach. There's a path forward. It's staring us right in the face. And that's tomorrow. And it starts with you. We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to our family. We owe it to the people who fought and died behind us, or just parents who raised us. We owe it to future generations. We also owe it to Donald Trump. If we don't win, he goes to prison. That's what they want to do. And he goes to prison. Why? Because he supports us? I want you to listen to this. We're going to run right through it. This is the real Kamala Harris. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and she hasn't changed. Right from the top, Mr. Producer, go.
Responsible behaviors among everybody in the community, and just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Well, there are approximately 5 million, to your point, Craig. We have to have a buyback program, and I support a mandatory buyback program. It's got to be smart. We got to do it the right way.
People who are in convicted in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault, they should be able to vote?
I think we should have that conversation.
Defund the police. The issue behind it is that we need to reimagine how we are creating safety. And when you have many cities that have 1/3 of their entire city budget focused on policing, we know that is not the smart way and the best way or the right way to achieve safety. For too long, the status quo thinking has been you get more safety by putting more cops on the street. Well, that's wrong.
So these are some of the ways, but we've got to increase the corporate tax rate. We also have to increase taxes for the top 1%. And that part of that is going to be about repealing that tax bill that they just passed. And also looking at estate taxes are going to have to go up. So there's a big difference between equality and equity. Equality suggests often everybody should get the same thing. Well, that often assumes everybody started out in the same place, as opposed to equity, which is everyone should end up in the same place. And if you then understand not everybody started out, understand some people need more. So we all end up in the same place. It is wrong to somehow suggest that an undocumented immigrant is a criminal. Being an undocumented immigrant is not a crime. I know what a crime looks like. An undocumented immigrant is not a criminal. 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 That they were standing in the way of surgery.
For prisoners.
For prisoners. And there was a specific case. And when I learned about the case, I worked behind the scenes to not only make sure that that transgender woman got the services she was deserving. So it wasn't only about that case. I made sure that they changed the policy in the state of California so that every transgender inmate in the prison system would have access to the medical care that they desired and need. And I believe it was not only, I know it was historic in California, but I believe actually it may have been one of the first, if not the first in the country, where I pushed for that policy in a Department of Correction.
Should black people get reparations?
I think there has to be some form of reparations, and we can discuss what that is. There's no question I'm in favor of banning fracking. So, yeah, and starting with what we can do on day one around public lands, right? And then there has to be legislation. But yes, and this is something I've taken on in California. I have a history of working on this issue. And to your point, we have to just acknowledge that the residual impact of fracking is enormous in terms of the impact on the health and safety of communities. Under my plan, there will also be a carbon fee. We have to monitor whether it's going to be passed on to consumers. But I'm going to tell you that should never be the reason not to actually put a fee, and in particular, carbon fee. Climate change has become a climate crisis, and it demands urgent action. Across our nation, rising sea levels are flooding streets. Wildfires are burning out of control, and here in the DMV, we have all felt the impact of extreme storms and heat. I've always supported Medicare for all, and I give credit to Bernie Sanders for starting a very important discussion. We will hold social media platforms accountable for the hate infiltrating their platforms because they have a responsibility to help fight against this threat to our democracy. And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable as a community.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically that's wrong.
Senator Warren, Elizabeth Warren, had a town hall last night, and she said that she thinks we should do away with the Electoral College. Do you agree with that?
I think that I'm open to the discussion. I mean, there's no question that the popular vote has been diminished in terms of making the final decision about who's the president of the United States, and we need to deal with that. So I'm open to the discussion. So I will say that I am interested in having that conversation, and I'm open to this conversation about extending the number of people on the United States Supreme Court, about increasing the number of people in the United States Supreme Court.
So you heard it from her. You've heard it from her. She's a nut. She's a nut. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
We have about 4 minutes left together, ladies and gentlemen, till the day of reckoning. We have a rendezvous with destiny, as Reagan would say, and that's tomorrow morning. I encourage you, set your alarms, get up early in the morning, do what you need to do, see if you can bring anybody with you, and get in line and vote. I don't care how long the line is. I don't care who's in the line. I always get these contacts, people calling me, "It looks great out here. We have really long lines." It means nothing. I get that when we win. I get that when we lose. Take care of business, America. You know how to do this. Many of you are laborers. Many of you are small business people. Many of you are professionals. Many of you are blue and white collar workers. It doesn't matter. In your own life, you need to be on time for things, right? Whether you're going to see the doctor, whether you have to show up for work, whatever the reason. Well, this is a bigger responsibility than any of that. This is your duty to your family, to yourself. Vote in your own personal best interest. Look at the economy. Look at food prices and gasoline prices, home prices. They're all through the roof. They don't have to be through the roof. They were not under the roof through the roof under Donald Trump. There is no price gouging. Kamala Harris cast the tie vote to spend trillions of dollars we don't have, and she drove up the cost of everything because too much cash is floating around, except in your pockets. People on Social Security and Medicare, Donald Trump never said he's going to destroy them. Joe Biden did. Donald Trump doesn't want tax cuts for billionaires. He wants tax cuts for you. Overtime, tips, tax cuts, no taxes for people on Social Security. He wants to give significant tax credits to people who are taking care of family members. It's she who's funded by billionaire oligarchs, $1.2 billion. Where the hell did that come from? Because the oligarchs want the ruling class, because the ruling class works with them. They're called special interests. They don't want any change. They want more power, more centralized government. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, you're being sold a bill of goods. But enough with the substance. We've spent months on this. Now it's activation time. That is activism, execution. It's on you. It's on me. We the people. Like the men who volunteered during the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Like the men who volunteer right now, and the women, to join our military. The young people who join ROTC. Ladies and gentlemen, all we need to do is vote and make sure other people in our social and familial circles vote. That's all we need to do. It's the simplest battle for liberty, the simplest battle to defeat the Marxist jihadists, the simplest battle to keep our lifestyle and our freedom, and to protect our children and our grandchildren to the future. It's never been easier. And to prevent Donald Trump from going to prison. We owe him that, do we not? On the other hand, Kamala Harris has done nothing for this country. She doesn't have any skin in the game, as they like to say. No skin in the game. She loses the election, she'll run in 4 years. She doesn't care. She was handed the nomination. She stands for literally nothing publicly and everything we abhor personally. I just played for you about 20 clips, short in duration. Do you agree with her on anything? She hates the cops. She hates the military. She hates the private sector. She hates blue-collar, white-collar workers. She hates American citizens. She wants to take your hard-earned dollars and turn it over to illegal aliens in 1,000 different ways. Because that's the future. Turn the page. We can do better than this. We need to tell the Democrat Party no. Even if you're a Democrat, it's time to take your party back. So many Democrats are leaving the Democrat Party. Union members, people you've seen in Congress, they've had enough. Billionaires who have funded the Democrat Party for decades. They've said that's enough. Jews who see what the Democrat Party and Harris is going to do to their Holy Land. Christians, same thing. That's your Holy Land. The attack on Christianity and Catholicism, the attack on Judaism, the attack on the moral foundations of our country. We have a rendezvous with destiny tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. It's on our shoulders. You and me. We the people. You need to turn out en masse. You need to make sure other people turn out and not just hope. We need to act. And I'll meet you tomorrow at your closest precinct. God bless.